I don't know where that second hour of SmackDown came from, okay? That was not the same SmackDown that I've been roasting for the last 3 months, okay? My old buddy Bruce pulled out just this second hour that was actually, like, pretty damn good. I'd be lying if I said it was bad. I'd be lying if I ranted about the second hour. Genuinely, I enjoyed that second hour a lot, okay? It really saved what was heading towards being another god-awful show. Literally, that first hour, I mean, here's a picture of my face during that first hour, okay? You're seeing it on screen now. This was me in the first hour of this show. It was that bad, that just same old SmackDown, okay? We open the show, I'm not going to do the full review now, but picture this. We open the show, a moment of piss with Braun Strowman. And then we got Tamina versus Sasha Banks. And guess what? Tamina won. So Tamina and Lacey are standing tall. So that was the first little bit. Then we got Dana Brooke beating Naomi in a Money in the Bank qualifier. So by that point, we're 50 minutes in the show. I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to do a legendary rant about this piece of crap. But then we get the Sonya Deville incredible promo, the stuff with Mandy Rose, Otis, Ziggler. That was great. We got Daniel Bryan and Cesaro having a pretty damn good match. We got Baron Corbin just brutalizing and assaulting Elias. And then we got the New Day winning the tag team championships for an 8th time. So that second hour really saved this show. Okay, I really, really enjoyed that second hour. If you didn't see it, if you didn't see this show, don't even touch that first hour. It was god awful. The second hour is actually worth watching. I don't know when the last time I said about SmackDown under Bruce that the second hour was worth watching. But I tell you what, Bruce, you did a good job of that second hour. I credit where it's due. But before I get into this review, I've got to address something that's more like the major news and the major takeaway out of this show. Money in the Bank will be taking place this year in WWE headquarters. Now, the tagline for this is climb the corporate ladder. Personally, I love this. This is exactly what they needed to do. They needed to do something because as we saw at WrestleMania in the ladder match between Kofi, Jim Uso, and Morrison, then we saw it in NXT with the women in the ladder match. Ladder matches in front of no one at the PC is a complete failure. Okay, that just doesn't work. You can't do a ladder match in front of no one. That's bad for the performers, bad for the fans at home. So what they're doing is the wrestlers will start on the bottom floor to begin the Money in the Bank match, and then the briefcase is up on the roof. So they have to make their way up through WWE headquarters to then retrieve the briefcase. That I think is sick. That is something. It's creative. Now, granted, I'm not going to get too ahead of myself because this is WWE. Their execution on ideas like this is known to be terrible. So I expect WWE will make a mess of this somehow. But just the basis of that idea, I think it's sick. Plus the poster, it's something different. It's really cool looking. So yeah, this whole Money in the Bank taking place in WWE headquarters, that the elitist is a big fan of. I think that's cool, but once again, it's WWE, so they'll probably stuff it up. So with that being said, that's the main kind of takeaway, bit of news. Then we move to SmackDown. So we open the show. Are you ready for a good time? No, I'm really not. Okay, I'm just not ready for a good time. Michael Cole and Graves on commentary. So we open the show with a moment of piss. So Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, the WWA Women's Tag Team Champions, they come down and they're literally pandering to each other about being the first ever 2-time WWE Women's Champions. Okay, from here, they have obviously the seat for their guest. I'm thinking to myself, who's their guest going to be? And they introduce Braun Strowman, and I just crack up laughing. I did this last week when Strowman came out. I just don't take him seriously. I think it's hilarious that he's Universal Champion still, so Strowman comes out. Nikki Cross then praises how awesome Braun Strowman vs. Goldberg was, and I crack up laughing. Okay, are you kidding me, Nikki? So she talked about how awesome that was. Whatever. From here, they're just bickering back and forth about not bickering. They're just talking to each other, pandering back and forth about nothing. I'm thinking to myself, I so badly want to change the channel. This segment sucks. Then Braun Strowman spots a present out of the corner of his eye, goes over, picks it up. It finds out to be the White family sheep mask, and they show a picture of Strowman wearing the sheep mask from the White family. So that was cool. I guess the sheep mask thing is decent storytelling, but a moment of piss opening the show with Braun Strowman. Are you kidding? Bruce? Really? A moment of piss open? Whatever. So we got that from there. And then we went to Sasha Banks versus Tamina. Now, Sasha Banks comes out first, then Tamina, the wild card, makes her entrance. So Sasha Banks is supposed to be selling this like, oh, I'm afraid of Tamina. And I don't know why. I mean, actually, no, I do know why. Pretty much Tamina botches and was probably going to break Sasha Banks' ribs. That's why Sasha Banks was like looking afraid. But for real, Sasha Banks selling terror that Tamina's in the ring. Really? Tamina's a 42-year-old woman who can barely move. And you're going to... whatever. So the match itself... basically, Sasha Banks takes out some, like, super small little t-shirt or shirt that says The Boss, throws it at Tamina. Tamina says, I'm an extra large. And then Tamina threw it at Bayley. We went to commercial. We came back from commercial, got like 2 minutes of wrestling, and then we got the ending. This, if you didn't see this, this pissed me off to no end. So basically, Bayley's getting involved. Lacey Evans' music hits. Like, why is Lacey's music hitting? Make it look any more staged. It's just have Lacey run down. So Lacey comes down, jumps off the steel steps, takes out Bayley. Bayley literally lands like head and neck first on the floor. It looked awful. And then Sasha gets back into the ring. Super kick from Tamina. Just a regular super kick. 1, 2, 3. Tamina beats Sasha Banks. Okay. So Tamina and Lacey Evans are standing tall in the ring. I'm just thinking to myself, what an absolute joke. Okay. Tamina and Lacey standing tall. So, you've got Bruce's 2 favourite women, you've got the wild card and the sassy Southern Belle standing tall. Just ridiculous. So, from there, we go backstage, Jay Oos says Oos about 100 times, and then we see Lacey Evans, and she says she wants to punch Sasha Banks. Apparently next week's Lacey vs. Sasha in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Sasha better win. If Lacey wins that match, I'm just done. So, from there, we go to Sheamus vs. Denzel Dejanette, which Michael Cole botched that name about 4 times. So, this Dejanette guy, Seth Rollins destroyed him 2 weeks ago. Here, Sheamus beats him in like 2 minutes. Okay, as Michael Cole says, Sheamus bludgeons him. So, I mean, that was whatever. Sheamus just wins. Afterwards, Sheamus goes over to Michael Cole and starts yelling at him and talking about how, like, he doesn't want to be seen as an afterthought, and all he's talking about is Jeff Hardy as Sheamus is in the ring. So, from there, we get part 2 of the Jeff Hardy video package that they started showing last week, and they're going to show next week as well for part 3. This one talked all about Jeff Hardy's like DUIs and his drug issues and jail time. Fine. It wasn't a bad package, but seriously, by this point in the show, we're like 35 minutes in, 40 minutes in. I just want to turn this off. This is the same old SmackDown. The show sucks at this stage. From here, we go backstage. This didn't make me feel any better. Carmella and Dana Brooke are talking. They get into this argument because apparently they're a tag team. Carmella's like, but you should be focusing on our tag team. I thought we were a tag team, Dana. And Dana's like, well, I want to be a singles wrestler too. I can do both. So that was their argument backstage. From there, we go to a Money in the Bank women's qualifying match, Naomi versus Dana Brooke. Okay, I was adamant that Naomi would just win the match because Naomi is a far more like suited to a ladder match type wrestler. And I thought Naomi would just win. So I left the room, came back in 10 minutes later. I literally saw... okay, pretty much, Naomi came down, she was wearing, I wrote it down here, she was wearing a flashing lantern on her head that changed colours during her entrance, which, up to that point in the show, that was the best thing we'd seen by far. So Naomi comes down wearing that. This match is Dana Brooke. As I said, I just took an hiatus for like 10 minutes. I didn't care. I come back in, Dana Brooke kicks out of a rear view, which is the worst looking finisher I've ever seen, and then Dana Brooke beats Naomi. Why? Why is Dana Brooke beating Naomi? Not that it really matters, but really having Dana Brooke qualify for Money in the Bank, what's Dana Brooke going to do in a ladder match? Wasn't even a ladder match. What's Dana Brooke going to do running around WWE headquarters like a headless chicken? So we got that from there. And by this point, I'm thinking to myself, just Bruce, what are you doing? But by this point, we're literally 55 minutes in. I'm thinking to myself, this show is even worse than it was last week. We've had Dana Brooke qualify for Money in the Bank. We've had Tamina and Lacey Evans stand tall over Sasha Banks. And we've had Braun Strowman on a moment of piss. Can this show get any worse? So by this point, I'm all in a negative headspace. We get a video package for Mandy and Otis. Then we go to commercial. So that was the first hour. Just awful. And then we have hour 2. This was a completely different thing altogether. So we get this Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose segment. Pretty much, this is a really small little note that I think only I'll mention. But Sonya Deville and her entrance, she comes out first. On like the graphics on like SmackDown on Fox that has like her accolades on the side, her 2 accolades that states are Stars in Total Divas and Former Friend of Mandy Rose, as if both of those are big achievements. So we get that. From here, Deville's groveling for Mandy to come out. Deville's like fake crying. I'm thinking to myself, this isn't very good. Then Mandy Rose's music hits. Mandy comes out. So Deville, she continues this fake crying. She's like sobbing. It looks terrible, I'm thinking. And then they begin bickering. Deville then cuts this really good promo about how Fire and Desire was all about Mandy, apparently. Deville makes a joke about Mandy loving to gag on things. She says that, well, this is the one thing I hated about the promo. Okay, this line, it's just me nitpicking here, but I need to have a rant about this. She says, look at Dolph, and look at Otis. As if Dolph Ziggler, who's an oiled-up bathhouse attendee with spaghetti hair, who spends 6 months, back in 2010, this guy, Dolph Ziggler, spent 6 months trying to get a 50-year-old Tammy Sitch to sleep with him, okay? Dolph Ziggler is no beautiful and, like, amazing-looking human being. I hate this look that, oh, Ziggler's the dream guy. He looks like he's oiled up and spaghetti here. I can't stand it. So, anyway, from here we get Sonya Deville cutting a great promo. Like, this Sonya Deville promo surprised me, but it shows that these wrestlers actually have talent. Like, someone like Sonya Deville, they never give her time to talk. A promo like this makes me like Sonya Deville. I didn't care about her before, but she cut this great promo here, calling Mandy Rose a Barbie doll, saying she's purely eye candy and she's talentless. Deville promises to ruin Mandy Rose's life and make everyone realize who the real talented one was in Fire and Desire. Then Mandy's like looking all sad because the promo is so good and impactful. From here, Dolph Ziggler's music hits. From here, literally Ziggler's groveling to Mandy Rose. Then we get Sonya Deville punching Mandy Rose. Otis runs down. From here, Deville jumps on Otis. Then Mandy Rose throws Deville to the ground. Then we think Ziggler and Deville have cleared out, but then Ziggler rushes back in at Otis. And then from here, this was great. So Otis hits Ziggler with a caterpillar, and Corey Graves does the line of the night here. He says, like a knight in deep fried armor, Otis comes to the rescue. That got me laughing. I love that. So from here, we get that fantastic line from Corey Graves. Mandy Rose and Otis stand tall, but an incredible promo from Sonya Deville. Really good stuff. From here, Michael Cole and Graves talk about Howard Finkel. Obviously, once again, I didn't say this in the videos I made so far, but rest in peace to the Fink. The best announcer in all of wrestling ever. Just an incredible, asset to the business. It's sad to see him go. So we got a video package for Howard Finkel. That was a great tribute video. Then The Miz is backstage. Whatever, don't really care. From here, we go to Daniel Bryan vs. Cesaro, Money in the Bank qualifier. This match should have main evented a pay-per-view in 2014 or 2015. Wasn't to be, but the match itself was actually really good. They gave this good time, which surprised me, because remember the kickoff show with Cesaro and Gulak? They gave 4 minutes. Remember, like, Nakamura vs. Gulak, or any of these matches involving Zayn, Bryan, Gulak, Cesaro, Nakamura, they give it like 5 minutes, and it usually has bad endings. This, they gave like 16 minutes. Granted, it got 2 commercials, and you barely saw too much of the match, but they gave this a good amount of time. I really enjoyed it. Bryan and Cesaro put on a really good match here. Like, this one, if you didn't see it, go check this out. This is actually a really good match with Bryan and Cesaro. So before we go to one of the commercial breaks, we get the hacker thing again. So the truth will be heard. We see the screen. It's showing all the men and women's teams on SmackDown. So it's showing the tag teams. And so the hacker, probably Ali, is saying that the truth will be heard. I'm thinking to myself, I'm curious to see where this is going. This isn't something where it's so predictable and you know what they're going to do. I'm actually curious to see what they're going to do with this. So that was good. I like that. From here, we come back from commercial. We get 5 more minutes of, like, no BS, like, good wrestling with Bryan and Cesaro. Go back to commercial. Afterwards, we get even more wrestling. And then eventually, Bryan made Cesaro tap out. So, really good match with Bryan and Cesaro. By this point, I'm thinking to myself, is SmackDown actually going to have a really good second hour? And they actually stuck through with that. They actually did. So, then we get Big E doing a promo. And then we see Elias. He's walking backstage. So, he's about to perform a song. I'm thinking to myself, Bruce is going to kill this. Okay, don't do this. And then Baron Corbin blindsides him and just destroys him. Baron Corbin bashes up Elias backstage for like a minute or two, and then we go to commercial, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's going to happen now? And it's just more of King Corbin just destroying Elias. I'm thinking to myself, this is really good. Okay, Corbin and Elias are 2 guys who have like actually really good potential to be great, but you're having Elias singing that Corbin's throne's a toilet and his crown's a turd or whatever. And like stuff like that makes me hate SmackDown and hate the 2 performers. But stuff like this, it's simple pro wrestling. Baron Corbin was just brutalizing this guy. Smashed him with his guitar, threw him into production crates. Elias is like shaking when he's selling. Like, it was really good. I actually really like that. So Elias and Corbin, really good stuff here tonight. I'll say that much. From here we go to our main event, triple threat match for the SmackDown tag titles. Big E versus Jey Uso, I think, yeah, Jey Uso versus The Miz. The match itself was nothing special. It was pretty much a mid-match commercial, and then we got like 3 minutes of wrestling, and then Big E pins, I forget who he pinned, but Big E got the pin, so the New Day are now 8-time SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Personally, I'm happy with that, okay? The SmackDown Tag Division's dead. It doesn't really matter who has the belts, but I prefer them having the belts to Miz and Morrison. Hey, hey, ho, ho. So, the New Day win the tag titles. We saw a video of Kofi Kingston, doing a tribute to Howard Finkel, saying, and new SmackDown Tag Champions. Then we saw Xavier Woods all hyped. So, the New Day win the tag titles for an 8th time. Really good way to end the show. Pretty much this SmackDown tonight, the first hour sucked and was typical Bruce, and then the second hour was like really good, and I don't know where it came from. So that was SmackDown. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and sub. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. I had fun making this review, because this show is actually just a complete mess, really. A bad first hour, a great second hour. So like, comment, sub. You guys know the drill. See ya.